Shout out to Prince, one of the artists with a unique style and who is the top 10 in influence and changing the system. Because remember, Prince was against the infrastructure. Yes, he was a part of it, but then he tried to flee. Because we keep things real over here. Okay? So now we look back and we analyze the messages that's hidden for what he is trying to portray. Okay? So let's dive into it, y'all.
One thing, there's only one way to start this. The first person to contact me when I came back to late night was this man to congratulate me and to say he would be here, save me a night. Thank you, dude. You've always been a good friend, dude. Always. And here's the interesting thing. Do you have a cell phone?
No.
See, I'm always shocked when I hear from you. But how do you survive in this world without a cell phone?
Everybody I know has one.
Oh. You're in social media. You have an Instagram account, a Twitter account now?
I'm trying to get Prince to Gram.
Yes. Oh. Instagram. You actually, I saw a selfie of you, or it was yours, I should say.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, that was your first?
Yeah.
Yes. That was...
What in the bomber clot is that? I don't know what that thing is. Put in the comments what this is, please.
How would you, yeah. What do we title that selfie?
One.
One. That's one. Let's talk about titles. Your favorite title in the Prince catalog. What's your favorite song come about?
Well, that came up through mainly the media's problem with not having a pronunciation for the symbol. What we found is throughout the world, if you hold this up and show it to people what they think of, they will say Prince.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So you obviously made it famous.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Were you thinking of a name?
You on this album that you have out now?
This one actually was influenced by the musicians that are on it, the new power generation. I change musicians every 2-3 years or so. This will probably be the last band that I have for a while. I'm going to do some solo work after this. But this record is, it's one of the maddest records I ever got hooked up with. Freaks on this side and Push It Up and all that. A lot had to do with the energy that we experienced.
All right.
Yes, okay, we have Mel B from the Spice Girls group. She's interviewing the artist formerly known as Prince. But in this topic, she is going over an important subject regarding the record companies. That's what we want to unravel right now. So let's carry on.
Yeah, because I was having a word with my drummer, got a drummer on tour with us, and he goes, at some point there's going to be no need for record companies. Everything is going to be done through the internet. You're going to be able to sell, download, everything is going to be through the internet. Do you think that, or?
Well, I'm not so sure about that. You know, record companies have their purpose. They're actually good for people who are just starting out and need a helping hand, and they serve a lot of functions, you know. But for somebody like me who writes a lot, and records a lot, and wants to release a lot, it's a detriment. So I stepped away. It doesn't negate going back and you know, doing something in the future.
Because you've got your own label now, haven't you?
Well, it's 3 letters, NPG, that we stamp on the product. But we're musicians. We don't need to function as a record company per se.
All right, so you do it more kind of on a level.
Yeah, and I don't wear a suit. So.
No, that's good. So if I release some stuff, then I could go under your label, couldn't I? If I talked you enough around it.
As long as you own your work, it's cool, because that's what
That's important.
that's what New Power Generation is about. Ownership of the master, or else you're a slave.
I really respect that, how you've done things, because you're your own person and you do what you want to do, and you kind of control a lot of things around you, which is very important, obviously, for you.
All right, so this is crucial right now. So Prince, he went over a few things, but he did mention about slave in the record company. Now, this is something that let's just go over real quickly. So once you sign the contract, and that contract holds you down for X amount of time or number of albums and what you have to pay, you might get an advancement. It depends what's written, but there's also some negligence that needs to be talked about too, because you cannot say that you are a slave when you signed up to be a slave. You feel me? You see me? That's my only thing. Now, we do know the record industry is evil, but aren't you supposed to have a lawyer to check the documentation? I'm just asking. So that's my only pushback. So now let's get into the slave. So, but Prince, but you were a part of the industry, right? Meaning you indulge yourself with a lot of the foolishness too, because we keep it real. Your image, you were doing some freaky things too. Let's not cap. And that's what made you different. So it's kind of like you indulge yourself with the freakiness in the industry, and then once you've seen how they're treating you like a prostitute without getting paid the proper dollars, that's when you decided to reach out and you wrote slave on your face and started to go against the infrastructure that's feeding you. But Melanie B, she made a good point. This is in 1998, and Melanie was right, because she's like, the industry, everything will be run on the internet, in the industry and all that. So fast forward now, you have more independent going on, but Prince, he couldn't see that, because he's like, no, there's a function and there's a usage for the industry, and he's right, because that's the big companies in that sense. Okay. So it's kind of like he played both sides, and now he's like, I don't want to play no more. That's what I get from it.
A great deal of competition grew out of it, and you, I don't know, you sort of competed with the other musicians and the other artists around town, and through that, I guess you come up with your own little clip.
Now, I've never read biographies which have used so many adjectives in describing you, comparing you to many people and things like that. I mean, one of them, I don't know, that sort of made me laugh. He said, Prince has got a bit of something funk and a bit of the plasmatics. I wish they obviously trying to put a picture onto you. You have also been described as outrageous, but how do you yourself see yourself?
I never had to answer that question. At all.
No, this is right.
I think,
Bomba clock,
and I
man.
think it can be described as anything, just a soccer or something like that can be described. I mean, I see people fall around in the mud and stuff.